to do is take one of the keyboard lessons as an example of how a teacher might actually unpack this for the student, and to demonstrate a little bit of how it would integrate with other aspects of the book. So I'll take a little moment from Lesson 10, and Lesson 10 utilizes dominant seventh chords and inversion. And I'll play it in a major key just to give you the idea. So in a class, I might actually ask students to take dictation and play the following thing. And in doing so, I'll ask them to focus specifically on the bass line. And their only goal for the first hearing is to hear the bass and to sing the bass back, or to sing and play the bass back at the same time. So in that case, following it shortly, ideally a student might be at a piano too, and the student would hear and sing back do, ti, do. And if at a piano, would actually go do, ti, do. At that point, if you wanted, you could have them write on manuscript paper, D, T, D, so that they can remember what they've done. And even at this point, you could say, you know, when you hear do in the bass, that's probably going to be the one chord. Write the Roman number. So that you can, at the beginning, think of harmonic dictation as fundamentally attached to the bass note. Following that, you can go and say, this time I want you to really focus on the soprano line. Student then can sing back, sing and or play back. You know, mi, fa, mi. All right, take a moment, notate that line on your manuscript paper. Now they actually have the outer voices, they have Roman numbers beneath it, and then I'll challenge them to play both of the outer parts and sing one of them. So for example, they might be asked to sing the bass, but play bass and soprano. So, do, ti, do. Now switch parts, sing the other but play both. Mi, fa, mi. And gradually, one by one, they accumulate these parts in their fingers, in their voices, and on a piece of manuscript paper. Once they've done that, as soon as they have it in their fingers, I might say, here's a call. I want you to listen to what I do and immediately do what I do. So I might go, in time, they immediately follow. They echo that exact thing. I might say, okay, here's another one. They follow, and you do these several kind of ways, different styles and so forth, so that they get a sense of how this is expressed in a real musical accompaniment for a piece, for example. Well, these exact things tie into everything from the inductive listening, where these are specific examples that they listen to and write down in short dictations, all the way to things like improvisation. So for example, once they have it in their fingers in this way, systematically we can unfold things in improvisation the following way. Taking the first chord, I can say, let's do upper neighbor tone variations. And so the student would play the basic pattern and yet sing on the top a variation that would consist only of upper neighbors. So they might go, mi, fa, mi, fa, so, fa, mi, fa, mi. Let's do the lower neighbor. Mi, re, mi, fa, etc. You can go to the other kinds of things. You can do fancier things like, ooh, let's do chromatic lower neighbors, you know. Mi, re, mi, fa, mi, re, mi, etc., etc. Chordal skips. You add the consonant kinds of things. And each iterative example that focuses on one particular thing lets them master that particular either non-chord tone or chordal skip. And at the end, you might say, let's do an improvisation in which you just selectively add one or more of those in a particular melody. And you can ask them to do this as a solo play and sing, or you can put them in pairs, have one person play and the other person sing. But in those cases, it might be the kind of thing where they work out a phrase in advance. So you might say, mi, mi, re, mi, fa, mi, fa, so, fa, mi, fa, so. And it slowly turns into real music over time. So something like this is very performance-oriented in its onset, and it's always through their ear, through their body, through their pencils, into that one-stop musical thinking. But you know, this is voice leading too. So the other thing that we do is when we capture that initial rendition, we can say things like, you know, these parts, these 4 parts actually work together in this way that can't really be taken apart if we know the patterns. So for instance, we can say, let's sing all the parts, bass, soprano, alto, tenor, one after another, and make a melody from that. So we might go, do, ti, do, mi, fa, mi, do, re, do, so, so, so. Those are the 4 parts that comprise this pattern. And if we know those parts, I could tell a student, you know, I want you to use the starting pitch D in the bass, and I want you to spell the progression 1, 5, 6, 5, 1. And if you do that, you sing these parts, you realize them at the keyboard, or you realize them with a piece of paper on the piano. So in D, do, ti,